Monster Movie Media presents
Blast from the past.
Your weekly dose of
Laughing gas.
you don't like it, you can
Kiss my ass.
cause even James has a
Podcast. Even James has a podcast.
Hey gang, how you doing? Welcome to episode 37 of the Even James Has a podcast. My name is James H. Carter II, and I'm here to let you know that we're gonna have a good time. Yes, before we even get going with anything, I just want to thank everyone for the support on our episode back. Episode 36 was a huge show. After a long break, I'm really happy and overjoyed to see all the support. So thank you very much. Yeah, we also got a few great iTunes reviews. One in particular from someone with the username Raspy Yogurt. You know, it really filled my heart full of warm feelings. It was just so beautiful what they wrote. You know, I know we like to have a lot of fun here. We joke around, but sometimes you read something that's so touching and moving that, just makes it all worth it. It really does. So, if you want to, add to that list of amazing reviews, you should totally do it. Anyways, moving on. This podcast is available on Stitcher, and I'm really stoked about that, you guys. In case you're unaware of what that is, it is an application for your smartphone that allows you to stream episodes of this and many other quality-approved podcasts right to your phone, iPhone, Android, Kindle Fire, BlackBerry, etc. You can find it in the App Store or at Stitcher.com. So, a few days ago, I picked up a book by Chris Hardwick called The Nerdist Way: How to Reach the Next Level in Real Life. In case you don't know who Chris Hardwick is, the back of his book sums him up quite well. Chris Hardwick is a stand-up comedian, TV host, writer, whose Nerdist podcasts are among iTunes' top downloads, and who has more than 1 million Twitter followers. He also writes for Wired and appears frequently on Attack of the Show, in addition to hosting Web Soup on G4. So anyways, that's who that guy is. He's also an actor. He's been in almost every Rob Zombie movie. As well as that, and he also hosted the show after The Walking Dead called The Talking Dead, and obviously he's a current podcasting legend. So he wrote a book about how he turned his life around and succeeded with all of his goals by channeling his inner nerd and retraining his brain to work for him instead of against him. I'm about 40 pages into it, and it's pretty fucking amazing. There's so many concepts and ideas that are presented in the book that I've briefly thought about that he totally elaborates on, that is like completely changed my perspective on life. I mean, it sounds like over dramatic, but it's really affected me. So I'm gonna keep reading it and let you guys know how I feel about that. So enough about my personal life. Let's get into what's going down in this episode. Coming up a little later in the episode, I'm interviewing a friend of mine. His name is Aaron Broom. I interviewed him right before he went on a very long bicycle trip from Long Island, New York to the Illinois state border. Right now, a special treat. I'm going to virtually join myself with young Marcus and Phill, aka Tex, and we are going to take a trip into the vault. And what we're going to take out is a clip of me when I was on the news when I was 17 years old in 1994. Here we go. Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of From the Vault.
Vault.
I am James H. Carter II. I am joined by the co-host of this wonderful program. What's your name?
Sorry. I'm Phill.
Word.
And I'm Dracula.
We got him.
Got him.
We got the Dracula.
These people are listening to Dracula. The Prince of Darkness is in the studio.
Dracula.
What?
No, come on.
Dracula.
Whoop whoop Dracula.
Oh, knock it off.
All right.
I'm just Dracula.
All right,
So
just
today I'm
Drac.
from the vault.
From the vault, we're going to revisit an old video clip of mine. We're going to revisit a clip of myself on the evening news.
This should be interesting.
What are you looking at me like that for, Mark? Dracula.
I'm excited. You know why?
Why?
Because I want to suck your blood.
Drac.
Remember that? Remember when I used to say that? Oh, man.
High five it.
I still got it.
Yeah, you definitely still have it, I guess. So, I'm trying to think. Should I talk about it first, or should we just watch?
Let's just show it to
Let's just watch it. Okay, so for people watching the Enhanced show on YouTube, be sure to look at this. And for people that are just listening, check the show notes. And, if people that are watching, Phil's showing his tits right now, which are...
Free country, bro.
Yeah. If you're listening to the audio, I'm sorry, I'm just mesmerized by Iraq.
They don't call me Double D for nothing.
Or at all.
Actually, they do because I was measured and I'm not even an A.
Yeah.
Barely. I should
They call you that because
training
your
bar.
nickname's Devil Dog. Because
You're
you ate
right.
115 minutes.
Yeah, I do have that world record. So this clip.
So anyways, the video is also on the show notes for this episode. So let's jump into me on the news.
The lead singer of the pioneering rock band Nirvana is dead. He apparently committed suicide. Seattle police say he was found in his home, a shotgun wound to the head. VCNN's Robert Kovacic charts Cobain's influence on his local fans.
A rising star in the world of rock and roll has taken a drastic fall. Kurt Cobain, lead singer of Nirvana, has apparently killed himself at his Seattle home. Here at home, tributes for the grunge rock pioneer from young musicians and fans.
Probably the biggest musical tragedy since someone like Jim Morrison killed himself. It's just one of the few true musical geniuses out there.
He's a really great artist, and he made a definite breakthrough in the alternative music category.
Record sales are going to go up. People are going to rush out and buy their records because, there'll be collector's items one day. I don't think he was a musical genius, and I don't think we lost much by his death. I'm kind of surprised by the way he killed himself, though. I thought it would have been like a drug overdose or something like that, but not a big loss.
Music critics and those close to the singer say Cobain had a hard time adjusting to his celebrity status. Local fans agree.
I don't think Kurt Cobain or Nirvana ever wanted to be as popular as they are, and I think it really took toll on them.
No one may never know what drove Cobain to commit suicide, but some here are not looking for a reason. It is a time, they say, for silence.
It was just personal to me, and now that it's gone, it's just, there's no more. Everything's over, and nothing's going to be the same anymore.
In Thousand Oaks, Robert Kovacic, VCNN.
Okay.
Oh, man.
So that was me on the news the day Kurt Cobain died.
Awesome.
So what was that, like a week ago? 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Man.
All
I
right.
stopped paying attention
Okay,
years
so
ago.
here's the thing. You guys probably wondering how I ended up me on the news on such a day in rock and roll history. Like, how did I get there? Why did they interview me?
Well, clearly you're a gigantic Nirvana fan.
Yeah, and you were clearly at some sort of Nirvana
Tribute
peace rally for Nirvana, like some sort of place for Nirvana's death tribute.
Yeah, it was a death tribute. All right, here's the situation. My parents went away on a week's vacation. And they left the keys to the brand new Porsche. Well, nah. Well, of course not. Yo, I thought of an awesome rhyme earlier.
Yeah.
Check it out. It's like, I'm 34 years old and I'm tattoo free, but I breed more evil than Tatooine.
That's what's up.
What do you think?
I like it.
You know,
I'm
because that's where
always
Darth Vader
down.
comes from, remember?
Always down with Star Wars and hip hop
Yeah.
being smushed together.
Yeah.
I love that shit.
Yeah, so I thought, I'm going to tell the guys this later.
That's pretty
It's a good
awesome.
one. All right, so this is what's going on. Most of those people in that video I was friends with.
That guy in the red shirt who acted like he
didn't care. That was Rob. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, you were friends with that dude?
Yeah, that was pretty funny. But here, this is what happened. Okay. Obviously, I cared that Kurt Cobain died because I liked Nirvana.
Right.
And we just found out about it maybe like an hour before this incident. Now, me, my friend Billy, who was also in the video, and my friend Jason, who was camera shy and took off before the news could talk to him, we were driving to that place, which was a Ben & Jerry's, where Rob worked.
Uh-huh.
And we were going there because it was free cone day. The news was there because it was free cone day. The news didn't hit the scene trying to find, some footage for Kurt Cobain dying. They were there because it was. Now, Rob worked at that Ben & Jerry's, and that was his band with my friend Johnny and Nick, two of the other people. The three of them had a band together.
Mm-hmm.
Rob actually ended up being in my high school band. Whatever. Their band was playing. So I guess the news, they show up for Free Cone Day. They get the news that Kurt Cobain died. They see that some kids are playing music, and they just try let's interview these kids playing music. So they interviewed them first.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
And then Nick, he points to me and Billy. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna want to interview those guys over there." So let's talk about the news organization that covered this. I grew up in Southern California, an hour out of Los Angeles.
Right.
And it's pretty much akin to growing up us in New Jersey or living in New Jersey, an hour away from New York City.
Right.
Where there's the main networks that are there in the city. And then there's the ones that are outside of the city that are really, really have no original programming. And
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty much like Channel 9, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Or 11 or.
Well, even 11. Like Channel 9 before it became UPN and then
Yeah.
changed whatever the fuck it is
Yeah.
now, My TV or whatever.
Yeah.
Just, all syndication.
Yeah.
Just really, whatever. So.
Syndication and news.
So. Everyone that worked at this news station were like, this is my fucking stepping stone to, I'm fucking gonna go to LA and make it big.
Yeah.
So everyone was fucking. So this guy that was interviewing me, he wasn't on camera obviously at all, but this was like the biggest fucking douchebag and he was just like, he was so serious when he was talking to me. And the thing about that clip of me, what I said, it was like 10 seconds or something.
Yeah.
I was talking to that guy on camera for 10, 15 minutes.
Wow. Wow. How could you hold character for that long?
And what I was saying was I had this opportunity. I'm just going for it. And I just rambled the most random bullshit. I just started talking about hanging out with Kurt Cobain and how...
Oh, my God.
And it was like, we would do this thing, and I would just go on and on.
You told him that you hung out with Kurt?
Well, I didn't say that I did. I was referencing, things that we did together,
Oh,
yeah.
I wasn't like, so I hung out with him. No, I was just I was talking about him like I knew who he was. and all this
Right,
shit.
right.
And I'll never forget this for the rest of my life. This guy, he stops. He's dead serious. He looks at me dead in the eye. He's like, did you know Kurt Cobain? And I'm like, well, I didn't know him personally. I knew him in here,
Get out of here, you little fucking punk.
So that little clip of, it was just like criticism of me, but I'll never be the same. Like, that was the end of a very long rant of bullshit that I was just like giving this guy forever.
So that's a really impressive. I mean, that's hard for me to pull 10 minutes out of my ass.
I mean, I don't know why. It just struck. I'm like, here's
lightning, huh?
Yeah, like here's my opportunity to just get in there. So, my acting skills weren't as awesome as they are now. But as you can tell, because I had that stupid grin on my face. So, yeah. So then when it finally aired, I'm like, later on that night, like get my parents. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be on the news, like all this shit. And then my clip comes on. And my dad was so fucking pissed off at me. He's like, it's like, that's how you want to portray yourself? Like it's all over and it doesn't matter anymore? You sound like a lunatic. I was 17 at the time, too. So awesome. I was just like, I'm on the news.
No offense to your dad, but he clearly didn't get the joke.
No, he was not. He didn't like how I carried myself. But that was the very beginning of me carrying myself in a way that he wouldn't approve of. I was only 17 at the time.
Oh.
Which, more trips to the vault will...
We'll explore more.
Yeah, explore that. So, before we close this vault back up, any more questions you might have about?
How long did that band practice that rendition of "Smells Like Teen Spirit"?
That was probably the first time that they did it.
Really?
Lucky bastards made it on.
Oh, the thing I love about it also is when I'm talking, my band, Auto Power, we had this song that we only played once. That was called Slow Suicide, which was just taking the 4 highest notes and playing them over and over again, really slow. And that's what they were playing while I was talking. So I guess that'll conclude this trip to the vault.
Let's lock it up before any more strange hairstyles or cover bands come crawling out.
Looked dead, didn't I? Well, I wasn't.
Even James is a podcast. Podcast is back with more megabytes than you can handle.
What is a megabyte? Well, what a megabyte is, it's basically a million bytes.
Yeah.
And there's 8 bytes.
Yeah.
Basically to a bit.
Uh-huh.
We're the bomb.
Okay, shut up. Stop talking.
Hey dudes and dudettes, that last song by You Love Her Cause She's Dead, titled Legacy, is amazing. It is an amazing album, hands down my favorite album of 2011. I just so excited about it. I just wanted to briefly mention that to you, but I'll talk more about the music that we played an episode later, because right now I'm here to tell you directly to your face that we have an interview coming up with Aaron Broom, a friend of mine who was about to embark on a long journey, as I stated earlier in the episode. This was recorded, I believe, on July 29th, the day before he went on this journey. July 29th, 2011. He came down to the studio to have a little chat with me, and here it is. Alrighty, hey everybody. I'm here with a special guest. Why don't you introduce yourself, sir?
I'm A to the 3, aka Cubed, Aaron Broom, from Levittown, New York.
All right, that's Long Island for our worldwide listeners. And Aaron's been a friend of mine for many years. I don't know how many years, but many.
Many. We go back some.
But that's not why you're here today. You're here today because you're about to embark on a journey that is grand in its scale, and I don't even know where to begin. Besides, let's take a step back before we talk about what you're about to do.
Well, 2 years ago, I rode my bicycle from Levittown, New York to New Hope, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
So
and how many miles is that? Do you know?
Probably about 280 or so. About 280.
280 miles.
Then last year I went from Levittown to Bridgeport, Ohio, which is about 1,200 miles. So
just you and the bicycle, huh?
That's it. Me, my bicycle, my music, and that's it. And whomever I meet along the way. So.
Wow. So, first of all, the question a lot of people got to ask you, or maybe, I don't know, but the question that comes to mind is, why did you do this? What was the inspiration to take these trips?
I guess just to see if it's possible. Every year I try to push the limit. So, I mean, 1 year I go from 280 miles to 1,200. This year I'm pushing it to 2,200.
Wow.
So,
well, let's not get into this year yet.
Right. No,
Let's talk about what you've already accomplished so people know the caliber of man that we're dealing with here. All right. So, do you know of anyone else that has done these kind of challenges? Because I don't know anything about it.
No, I'm kind of winging this thing. I mean, I haven't really talked to anybody about cycling or what they've done.
Okay.
I mean, it's all new to me. Every year I look at a map and I try to figure it out. I don't really go on websites and see what other people have done. So when I go into this, I mean, I'm going into it blind. I have no idea what I'm expecting.
Wow.
So.
I guess is that the thrill?
I guess just to see if I could survive, out in what is considered a wilderness to Long Island. So,
so when you went on these trips, what did you bring with you?
Tubes. I definitely need tubes because I get flats nonstop, and got some tools. Got clothes, which is disposable along the way.
You actually get rid of your clothes as you go?
Yeah, I mean, I can't bring enough for every day because last trip I was out there for 14 days, so I brought enough so I could change every couple of days, and along the way I get rid of it because there's no way to wash this stuff.
Right.
It just lessens the weight on the bike, because last trip I went over couple of mountains. So,
wow.
you know, to pull myself over there, I don't want to have, you know, an extra 30 pounds worth of material. So
yeah,
I dump it along the way, and, you know, along with tubes, if I get flats, it's less weight I have on the bike as well. So.
Wow. So how many inner tubes do you leave with?
Last year I brought 6. This year, because it's about 2 weeks longer, I'm bringing 10. But I mean, if I don't use them, I'm dumping them. You know, I'm dumping things just so I can move along on my trip.
Wow. And what about like food and water? How do you handle that?
Well, I start off with 6 bagels in my bag.
Okay.
You know, but unfortunately, when you get to Pennsylvania, they don't even know what a bagel is. So I have to live on hamburger buns along the way, and you know, I try to catch a meal at the end of the day and some snacks throughout the day. Try to find some local shops to stop at, but that's about it. I mean,
Wow.
You know, it's not easy to find. I mean, I'm not out in you know, in a forest, but I mean, it's not easy to find food in the middle of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, no,
it's not as commercialized as Long Island. So.
No, not at all. I mean, I've driven through Pennsylvania many times the past few years, and even driving is pretty desolate. I can imagine
right.
on a bike. So you just gotta. So you only eat one full meal a day, huh?
Well, I mean, I have a breakfast. If I'll find a family restaurant in the morning, or the motels, they usually don't serve anything, so I got to find the first restaurant along the way, have breakfast, and then throughout the day it's just bread and water. You know, I have 4 bottles of water on my bike, and then at the end of the day I grab a big meal, so I'm ready for the next day. So.
Wow. And so, that's the thing. How many hours a day are you on the road?
Well, I start at 6 a.m. I get up at 4:45. I get out the door at 6 o'clock, and most days I'm done by 5. It could end a little bit early. The latest I was out there last year was 8 p.m. So, I mean, looking at somewhere between 11 and 14 hours of riding,
wow.
You know, 85 to 100 miles a day. So.
Wow, that's crazy. I'm really trying to put my head around this. I've been hearing you've been doing the trip, you know, but I never really got the details from you about it, and I'm really starting to imagine being out there. That's crazy.
I mean, pictures can only say so much.
Right.
So my albums only tell a little bit of what goes on out there.
Let's explore that. Like, what kind of people or things do you come across, and what are people's reactions to what you're doing?
I tell you, the further away you get from New York, the friendlier people are. I mean, they want to hear your story. They love to sit down with you and talk with you. At the end of the day, I'll hit up a family restaurant, and everybody there knows each other. I mean, they're one big family.
Right.
The community is very close. And I'll come in and I'll be the stranger amongst them. And I'll start talking to one person about my trip, and everybody starts turning their heads, and they all try to get into the conversation. And I also, last year I met this couple. I got a flat in front of their house, and they were very kind. They says, "Why don't you work out of the sun? We'll pull a car out of the garage.
Oh,
you
nice.
Come on in." They packed watermelon and water for me at the end of my stay there, and
that's really nice. Wow.
They sent me on my way, and they gave me their information. I kept in touch with them after, but you're not going to find that type of people, and when you get back to New York,
No, you're not.
So unfortunately, I mean, I came back over to George Washington Bridge. I'm saying hello to everybody, I'm used to it being out there in Pennsylvania and Ohio, and everybody's looking at me funny, like, well, just leave me alone, man.
Yeah, like trying to think you're trying to scam them for something.
Right.
Everyone's on guard. Yeah, but out there people are friendly. So, you mentioned passing in front of people's houses. What was the route? Did you stay on the highway? Did you go through residential areas? Like, how did you decide where you were going?
Well, I just picked the easiest. I look at, I go on the computer, I take a paper map, and I just map out the best roads for me. I honestly don't know what's going to be on them.
Oh, okay.
A lot of them have farms along the way. Some are residential, some are commercial. I've been on believe it. I don't know if it's interstate or Route 22 in Jersey.
Yeah,
and,
22. Yeah.
And that was probably one of the busiest roads I've been on.
Yeah, that's like all commercial stuff, pretty much.
Right,
Yeah.
and I mean, as far as that's probably the busiest I've been on. I mean, usually it's local roads, but there's really nothing around. Everything's pretty much spread out. So
Right.
you could just be I'll go through Amish country, and you won't see much going through it except for the farms on the side of the road. So
I've seen that driving through Pennsylvania too. There'll be a bridge, and you'll see the horse and buggy.
Right, yeah, they just fly right past you. You know?
I'm just like, wow, this is real. It's one thing to drive by it, another thing to ride your bike
right.
by it.
I tell you, it's a whole new experience when I saw that because you're not even close to anything like that where on Long Island. So that was a great experience. I found a horseshoe along the way. I don't know. It didn't bring me much luck, but
Did it bring you bad luck?
I wasn't feeling too well towards the end of last year's trip, but I made it home successfully.
How are you feeling bad? What was wrong?
I got to Amish country last year on my way back from Ohio, and I stayed there overnight. And my two options for food were take out a Chinese food place or Italian.
Okay.
And I chose Italian. I figured I can get some carbs, stock up for the next day. And I got the food, and it just happened to be just really greasy. And the next morning, my stomach was just killing me, and I felt flushed. And I started riding. I was just sick. I was just feeling very sick. And I had to pedal from that day. I pedaled from Lancaster to Flemington, New Jersey. So I think it was about an 80 to 90 mile distance.
Yeah.
But I was sick. I wasn't feeling well. And when I got back, I wasn't feeling well for probably 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what I had. I don't know what it was. Some kind of bug, or I think the grease from the food just got to me.
Wow. And I bet. I mean, what are you thinking during that point where you're just like, can I go on? Why did I do this? Like.
Yeah, I mean, I was making decisions whether or not I should stop early for the day or if I'd feel better the next day, and then, I wanted to get back. In my mind, I wanted to get back by a certain day, so I felt, let me just go for it.
Right.
So I just kind of pushed myself, but those last few days weren't easy last year. So. Wow.
And so when you make it back after a trip like this, like, how do you detox? Like, how do you like, do you still keep riding? Because I know that you regularly go on like 60-mile rides almost every day, it seems like.
Right. I mean, at that point, I just quit completely. I mean, I people have told me along the way, don't you should continue so your muscles don't tighten up, but
right.
I at that point I'm done. I just say, I did my ride, did 100 miles a day, I'm done, and I just pack it up for a couple months, and then then I get back to planning the trip for the next year. But
wow.
I mean, I spend from the time I get back to the next trip planning the next trip. So
what goes into the planning besides just picking the route?
One is a destination. I got to know the exact town I want to be at, and then from there, it's a matter of sending away for maps because I want a hard copy of the maps because Google or MapQuest don't always give you the right roads or the best roads. So I'd like to look at a hard copy, and so it's a matter of sending away for that, then getting new supplies for the next ride.
Right.
As far as tubes and making sure that my bike is it's all adjusted.
Mm-hmm.
Because after riding 2,000 miles, your brakes are worn out to nothing, and all the cables are shot. So
yeah, do you go to bike shops along the way and get tune-ups or anything like that? Or
there really wasn't. I mean, there was bike shops. I rode this trail in Pennsylvania last year, the Allegheny Trail, and it went on. The part I rode was about 65 miles, and along the way there was small bike shops.
Uh-huh.
There was before that and after that there was really nothing. I didn't really stop. I had everything I needed, but when I came back from the trip, I mean, I brought my bike into the shop, and the guy saw that I went a distance.
Yeah.
He had to change cables. He had to. The brakes had to be replaced. So. I mean,
so you didn't have to replace the brakes the whole trip? You got it. You came to and back?
I think they were shot halfway because I went down this mountainside about 43 miles an hour.
Holy shit.
And I think if I didn't press those brakes against the wheel while going down there, I probably would have been going about 60. I mean, I was freaking out going down this hill because if I would have hit a hole in the road, that would have been the end of me. You know,
yeah,
so
you would have flipped over going that speed.
I would have been going off the side of the mountain or something.
Oh, wow.
So, but I think the brakes were shot probably halfway through the trip after going over these mountains.
So, are you gonna? Well, the next trip, are you gonna try to do something about that, or you're just gonna still wing it and see?
I'm gonna wing it. I'm gonna pray and hope that everything stays together and lasts. So.
Okay, cool. So let's get into it. Let's get into the trip that you're embarking on tomorrow. Recording this July 29th, and you're heading out July 30th. So what's this year's destination?
For day one or
no, the end.
all together?
Yeah.
All together, I'm going to Marshall, Illinois.
Wow. And what's the mileage on that? You said about 1,200 before?
2,200.
22. I'm sorry.
1,000 off, but that's all right. I'll keep that in mind. Make it sound a little better for me.
Yeah. So when you ride on the highway, do the cops pull you over? Do they ask what you're doing? Do you get a lot of people thinking that you're up to no good or wondering what's going on?
Nah, no one seems to bother me on the roads. I mean, if I'm parked on the side having a bagel or a hamburger bun or something to eat, people sometimes pull over to see if I need help. They think that something happened to my bike, and they pull over and they start asking me if I need assistance, and but nothing terrible. Nothing.
Right. So no one's giving you any hassle.
No, I've not gone through any terrible area where people are gonna mess with me.
Right. I mean, just because it's so abnormal what you're doing, they're not used to it. They just assume, you know what I mean? Just people I guess that's more of a New York thing. Like what I'm saying. Right. What are you doing?
Right. Well, when I go through last year's trip, I felt very comfortable leaving my bike places unlocked.
Really?
I mean, in New York, I wouldn't have done that, but. In Pennsylvania, I could leave it up against a wooden post, and I could know in my mind I would still be out there if I walked outside of a store 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later. As far as people, I remember this one thing from last year. I had just gotten off this dirt trail, and I'm covered in dirt and mud, and I'm just messed up. And this lady, I guess she thought I was homeless. She's like, son, you sure you don't want a couple of bucks? I'm like, no, I'm good. I just pedaled from New York. I'm fine. And she was insisted on giving me money. I wasn't going to take it, but I guess I had the image of a homeless man.
You probably hadn't changed your clothes in a few days.
Right, it probably looked terrible.
So how long do you think this trip's going to take?
Originally, I thought 24 days, but I think it's going to be 26. So I'd say probably around about August 24th or so, I should be back.
Wow.
But that's if it doesn't rain. I'm expecting to ride every day. But
and what is you don't ride when it rains? What's the
if it's a light rain, I'll go for it. I'm not gonna panic over a light rain. If it's a heavy rain, if it gets to the point where it's just coming down really heavy, or say lightning, that's it for the day. But if it's a very light rain, I'm just gonna ride through it. I'm not gonna worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, what happens if obviously as you travel, the weather can change. You could be out midday and it starts pouring. What do you do?
Right.
Have you come across that kind of issue?
Yeah, last year I was out, and it was towards the end of my ride. I maybe had about 5 more miles left, and it just started pouring. And I took cover underneath this abandoned shack, and I just kind of waited it out. But if the case it came where it wasn't going to stop raining, and I knew I had the 5 miles, I'd probably go for it because I only have 5 miles.
Right,
not
right.
like I have to go 30 miles. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're that close, obviously, yeah.
right.
It's just like it's tough to make that decision to call it a day when
Right,
in the
I
middle
mean,
of nowhere.
Right, and the thing is with hotels or motels, they're not very close to each other. There'll be groups, and then there'll be nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, this year, I guess I could say a difference in what I'm bringing is this year I got a GPS for my bike.
Oh, that's great.
So it has an option to see points of interest in your area or wherever you are.
Uh-huh.
So hopefully it'll locate a hotel that's within the 5 mile radius
Right,
of wherever I need.
Because you've just been going by signs, really? Is that how you find motels, or you already have it figured out today?
Well, that's another thing in planning. I try to locate a spot where I want to end up, let's say every 85 miles, and I'll print out a list of motels in that area. But I don't know. I don't call the hotels or motels ahead of time, so I don't know if they're going to be rooms available or if they're even open anymore.
Oh, really?
They could be permanently closed. I wouldn't know until I got out there. I guess I just got to kick in the door and stay the night. So.
Man, you really just I'm seeing this is about the adventure. This is the motivation. You're just like, just see what happens when you get out there.
Yeah, I guess it's a lot about whether or not I could survive this. I mean, that's I guess what brings the excitement on about this trip is whether or not I'm going to make it through this. Somebody had told me at one point to watch or read the book Into the Wild. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
I'm not familiar with it.
About a guy in his 20s wants to go to Alaska, but wants to live out in the wild.
Okay.
And it's his trip on the road and his adventures as a hitchhiker getting there. And it's a matter of survival where you're going to end up. And a guy lives a little riskier than me on the road. He has no money along the way, so he's getting food.
He's just yeah.
And he's walking and he's doing his thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess it's the excitement similar to what he saw. Is the fact that see if you can make it through the day and what you don't know what to expect. What you're going to see that day.
Right. Wow.
So
what do you like your a lot of your close friends and family think about this? Like, what did they tell you before the first trip, and what have they told you since?
You're crazy, and
well, that's a given. But I mean, did anyone try to stop you?
No, I mean, I know people worry. I'm not, I could see it when I, my family when I tell them I'm going on these trips. You could see it that they're worried, but it seems like after the trip, they're bragging about this, like that he's my son or that's my brother or whatever. He made this crazy trip, But beforehand, they're all like, "You're crazy, this is insane. Why are you doing this?" But after they got this story to,
right, of course, so
that's if I make it. So.
Well, when you keep talking about if you make it or not, like what is what would you do? Obviously you have a cell phone on you, right? So
right.
So you could call, 911 if there was like a medical emergency or.
Right. I guess it's just every day you wonder how close you are to food in
right,
or how close you are to the next town because. You're in the middle of nowhere, and last year, I had no idea when something was going to appear. I rode down this one town in Pennsylvania, and there was a Sonic in the middle of nowhere, and I didn't.
Wow.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it wasn't open, so I couldn't get food.
No.
It was like 6 a.m. But I didn't. You don't know what to expect in the middle of nowhere. Something could just pop up, or there could be. Nothing. It was one day I wanted to mail a letter, and I have no idea what day of the week it is. I could tell you the date, but
Right.
I have no idea if it's a Sunday or Monday or Tuesday. So I see his post office, and this is great. I'm gonna mail a letter. I'm gonna send something home. And I walk up to the door, and I'm pulling on the handle, and nothing's happening. And it turns out it's Sunday.
Oh wow!
I have no idea what day of the week it is out there, but yeah, I guess it's just a matter of hoping something will come along every day.
Wow. So this seems like a real disconnect from the daily grind. Where, what do you do for a living that affords you this free time?
I'm a teacher. I teach.
Okay.
I teach math, middle school, 6th through 8th. So.
So you get the
frees
summers
up the
off.
summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you're definitely used to the daily grind, knowing what day of the week it is.
Right. I mean, once summer hits, I have no idea what's going on.
Really? You check out. You got to do it, I guess.
I mean, as far as training, I know I have 60 miles a day. It could be a Saturday, it could be a Wednesday. I have
right.
no idea. I just know I'm going out there riding. So.
Do you train it all during the school year? I mean, obviously not in the winter, but
I guess from March or April on, because other than that, I mean, it's just very cold out. I mean, it's at nights. I can only really train at nights during the school year, and it's very icy at night. So I guess from March, April on, I don't ride every day, but I try to get some 30-mile rides in at that point, and then I build up to 60-mile rides in the summer.
Wow.
So, I mean, this year I believe I added up to be about approximately 2,200 miles in training. So that'll be about
that'll kind of
right. It's about the same distance, but I'll be doing it in 3.5 weeks rather than 4 months.
Right.
So.
Well, I'm sure the training helps. It's got to help.
Oh yeah. No, I definitely see a difference from the time I started my training to now. I mean, beginning of training, I mean, I had muscles from the last ride. My legs were in shape somewhat, but I mean, I could feel the difference in the way I'm riding now than I was 4 months ago.
Wow.
So it definitely helps.
Excellent. So I want to talk about some of the other things you've done in the past, these kind of challenges, because as long as I've known you, there's always been these personal challenges you set for yourself, really only for your own personal satisfaction. Like a lot of people, when they try to do these, stunts or whatever challenges, they're like, oh, let's videotape it, let's put it on YouTube, let's get all that. Like one that comes to mind is, I remember you were saying that you wanted to eat 100 chicken McNuggets in one sitting.
Right.
And then next time I saw you, you said that you did it. And then I'm just like, oh, did you tape it? You're like, no, I just did it.
Right.
And that really, I've been an entertainer since I was 16 years old. I've been in bands. I've been doing all that. And I'm really used to doing stuff for people to see. And that really captured my imagination. Like everything from that to these bike rides, which really, this is the first time that I know of that you've even done anything like this, had an interview about it.
Right. I mean, I guess I'm not here to, for the most part, I'm not here to advertise. I try.
Right.
I try to keep things to myself, and I do it for myself, and I'm not here to, for the most part, to put on a show for the world.
Right.
I want to know that I've done it for myself, and not for the fact that I'm not here to impress. I'm not just doing it for myself. I'm not here to impress others. I just want to know if I myself am capable of doing extreme things. I guess I want to test myself, challenge myself. But I mean, in the past, people have asked me, why don't you do this for charity? Why don't you, get sponsors for this or do something big with this?
Right.
And I'm not, one thing is a lot of my planning. It's time consuming. So, along with the planning, I really don't have the time to go ahead and set up a charity event or set up where I can get somebody to pay me to wear an advertisement. Or whatever the case is, I don't have the time yet for that. I don't know. I'm not trying to make the biggest thing out of it.
I mean, it's very modest of you, but I mean, I mean, the people are thinking that because it's one of the first things that comes to my mind. You're saying that you're riding 2,000 miles, you know. I mean, definitely, it's even for charity to get people to like say every mile you do, they'll sponsor you or whatever. But I also understand that that takes a lot of personal planning, and you know that's a whole you have to get someone else even to handle that, because how could you even keep track of all that while you're out there?
I mean, to collect all that, I'd have to hire a whole street team. For this, and not to say I'm not charitable. I do charitable things. I did a charity event for St. Baldrick's where I raised money for children with cancer.
Oh, great!
So I did great. I raised almost $300 with that. And, so I try to do charitable things throughout the year. It just when it comes to this, I'd have to hire a whole team to get things organized for this. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, hopefully I have many trips ahead of me to where maybe one day I could plan something like that. But
right, I mean, because I mean, the way this is going, I mean, obviously you're seeing a cross country trip in your future, right?
Right. I don't know if I'm so much focused on. I mean, going to California and seeing the Pacific Ocean. I mean, that's something. It seems like something that when you think about riding far distance, people say, "Oh, you're going to go from one ocean to the other," and many people have done it. And that's another thing. I don't want to do something that everybody does. You know, I don't want to do the normal extreme things. You know, I just want to do my own thing and know that I've done it. You know, I don't want it to be something that can be compared to what other people are doing, you know. So.
Right. Well, that's great. That's a great motivation, and you know, in the world we live in, where everybody's trying to get attention or be famous or, like I said, impress people, all these things, you're just doing it for yourself, and that's why I wanted to. That was the number one reason I wanted to interview you today, because I was because I wanted to really get inside what was motivating these trips that you're taking and what you're getting out of it, and you know, I'm sure a lot of people envy. You know, but it seems to me like these ideas you have, they just start as, let me see if I can do it, and then you just do it.
Right. I feel like, you know, I have this idea, you know, let me see what I could make of it, and then when I feel somewhat confident that I could pull through with this, I'll tell a few people, yeah, this is I'm gonna go for it. I'm just gonna do it, you know. But yeah, I guess you got to just see. You know, check out things first and see if.
You don't go completely blind into it, but.
Right, you're right. I'm not gonna not map out things and just start riding one day. Not do the whole Forrest Gump thing.
Yeah, you're just like, I just left. I just got on my bike and took off.
Right.
Clothes I was wearing, never told anyone I was leaving.
Right.
No, you're not going like that. You know, you are doing some planning, which of course is a survival tactic. For sure. Mentally.
Right.
Wow. All right. Well, awesome. I guess we can, wrap this up. Thanks for coming all the way out here the day before your big journey. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for the invite and this is a good interview. I enjoyed it.
Excellent. So. All right. We'll be hearing from you soon.
All right. Take care and check it.
is a podcast, playing that hit music podcast. Even James is a podcast. Don't you know about Even James is a podcast?
Right, okay, people, you have to tell me these things, all right? I've been frozen for 30 years. Throw me a frickin' bone here.
Even James is a podcast, band that you rock and post-punk, experimental hardcore, and underground hip-hop podcast.
Alrighty, welcome back to Listen to Me Talk to You. Yeah, we're about to wrap up this episode of the show. Let's talk about the music played throughout. The first time I was talking underneath me was Messer Chops with Lipstick Twang. Then we played in its entirety You Love Her 'Cause She's Dead song Legacy from their self-titled album You Love Her 'Cause She's Dead, available on Glassstone Records. Amazing album. I mean, I said it before, it's seriously my favorite album of 2011. Such an underrated band. They're from the UK. They need to tour the United States of America so I can watch them perform music in front of my face and ears. So check that shit out. Second time I talked to you underneath was Rockphonics. Doing Cut Me Off. Then after Aaron's interview, we played a track from Duchess Says called Mavinovsky. And underneath me right now, again, Messer Chops. Back to the Bermuda Triangle. To check out that band further, cruise by their record label's website. Is Solnz Records, SOLNZE records.com, or you can go by messerchops.ru. You know, you can track us down all over this great world wide web of ours. Yeah, we own it. Don't let the fuckers tell you what you can look at the internet. It's our internet. And what you can look at is following me on Twitter, which of course is at James H. Carter2, the number, not the word. Send us an email, jamespodcast@gmail.com, and check out our wonderful, beautiful website where you can watch the video version of the show, read show notes, get bonus content, find your future marriage partner, whatever you want to do. And of course, follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Vimeo. Don't forget to leave us a review on the iTunes and listen to us on the Stitcher. Show, of course, is sponsored by Monster Movie Media. Hit us up at monstermoviemedia.com. Special thanks for Aaron Broom for coming down for the interview. Thanks to Greg from Glassstone Records, Ola from Salon's Recordings, Sean from Alienate Records, and thank you. I'm out of here. One foot in the grave, other one in the gutter. You know how it goes.